How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lo4f, and today, finally, at last, I've got to the mission where I can unlock this Azov Sprinter. So, once you do the first set of contracts called Stage 1, there's a mission that just kind of appears on the map. You can see the line I've drawn from like where the garage is over to... It's basically in like the bottom right-hand corner, really. There's that fuel station, kind of take a harsh right there and then sort of follow the straightest road. It's pretty simple, and yeah, you can see the mission appears just there. I've already got a goddamn horse. He's all there, ready, prepared. I actually had a Dolphin here as well, but I recovered that. I don't really know why. I suppose in the end, just because I was making this video, I wanted it to kind of be... yeah, just do it in one trip, and I was able to like already activate the mission even though I'm here at the minute. So for this mission, I was taking the Kolob, and I've kind of up to now been looking forward to using this truck. One thing I do like about it, I was just showing quickly, is like, obviously I pack a loaf on the roof because he's a goddamn horse, but one nice thing with the Kolob is it lets you pack a vehicle on the back, even though there's just like a saddle high underneath that, you know, there's no sideboard, there's no platform or anything, but it just lets you pack stuff on the back of the Kolob. I'm 99% certain it lets you do it on the long nose Kolob as well, because I very rarely drive that, but I'm pretty certain I've got a good memory of driving it around in Season 2 on flooded foothills. I'm certain I had a loaf just packed on the back, which yeah, keeps him anchored down, he ain't going nowhere. And I've got double roof racks. This would be another truck really that they could and should add roof racks to, and stuff like adding a sideboard to this, like the sideboard bed. It still sticks out a bit, like some of the mods have done it, but it's not crazy. That'd also be quite a nice feature to have for this, and a crane would be another thing. Although saying all that, this is kind of like this video. I'm towing a prototype trailer. It's not really for this mission or anything, it was just while I was travelling, essentially just the Kolob. Yeah, I sort of figured the trailer isn't really going to make any difference either way, but I've got various other loafs already over that way, and just having a radar trailer in the vicinity, if I ever decide to kind of just get the rest of that corner of that map tidied up, then yeah, I'll already prepared. Yeah, as I was driving the Kolob though, it's basically felt a little bit disappointing compared to what it used to be like. I was surprised there as well. It looked like it was even the current was going to start catching me, which one surprised me, like the Kolob out of most things. But as well, I've driven this way in various other trucks, and nothing ever really took long enough there to be affected by the water. But yeah, just going along here, I think there is still certain things where it's like certain sections of the map it just physically won't let you get out of first, so you just, yeah, you're punished with whatever the first gear can do in whatever truck you're in. But beyond that, I'm just sure I remember the Kolob being more of a beast. It used to have like ridiculously good power. I've got like the top engine. I'm 99% sure I got the advanced special, so that's always been a solid engine, always been very good for carrying the revs, always been very good for once you get up to say 5th gear or whatever, it actually stays in it extremely well. It's takes a lot for it to finally want to drop down the gears again, whereas yeah, tonight driving this, I just wasn't feeling it. I'm cutting a bit out now because I end up coming back a little later with a different truck, and yeah, to be honest, this thing was going so slow that I didn't want the video to be like 40 odd minutes. It was one of them where I thought, oh, this video is going to be like a 10-minute video and done, and then yeah, when I was looking through it I thought, well, I could grab the Kolob. I knew it was going to be like obviously a little bit slower than something I can just drop the hammer in high gear, but I figured, yeah, it's got a lot of muscle, so it should plough its way there pretty easily, and then obviously once I grab the truck, it should drag that thing home for like barely even notice that it's dragging a truck. But then there's little situations like this now where maybe I was catching the chin a little bit, but just the power doesn't seem to be there. And although I don't think it's just this truck, this does feel like it's been hit particularly bad by it. I don't know if they've done some kind of overall tweaks to the advanced special kind of genre of gearboxes, whether it's like the multi-purpose, all that sort of stuff, or yeah, I don't know what's going on, or if they have got this vehicle and kind of nerfed it essentially. Normally I have the tyres that look a little bit more like tractor tyres, sort of like got thicker, chunkier looking tread. But then when you go through the tyres, these ones say excellent and excellent for off-road and mud, so they only say bad for on-road, but there's not many roads on this map. Yeah. So there's a possibility. It doesn't really, like, even now, look, I mean, I bump into that, but you'd sort of feel like this thing should wheels spin. Even if you do get caught on something and you stop dead, you'd still hope there was a little bit of oomph there, but it's, yeah. Doesn't seem to be happening, really. I think this rock as well I get caught on. But you can see, look, now, when I'm flooring it, it's just like, yeah. Most of the wheels aren't even steering. That front wheel should be clawing its way up that rock, but it just isn't. So I cut some out there because I reversed a couple of times. It kept kind of following my tyres in the grooves of the road, so it kept making me line back up with that rock. So in the end I kind of almost sarcastically over-reversed to go super wide, but yeah, it turns out that is what I needed to do. And funnily enough, at this point I was even saying to myself, well, the Kolob, at least it's pretty bloody hard to tip. And that is true, it is bloody hard to tip, but I managed it there, which again is funny, because I've been through here in other trucks. Even stuff like the Dolphin, which I'd argue is easier to tip. But that's the thing, each season I kind of need to go through all the vehicles again, because whether it's like some general background nerf that kind of hits every truck, it always feels like a couple of % of performance is shaved off some of the top contenders each season, but I don't know, unless I'm looking through rose-tinted glasses with the old Kolob, then yeah, it's not feeling like it used to, and I kind of feel like I used to drive it quite a bit. It was in my top 10 favourite vehicles. Yeah, I've always quite liked it, so I feel like I've had quite a decent amount of driving experience in it, and I just was not feeling it tonight. So yeah, I tipped. Obviously, got a pair of goddamn horses with me, it was inevitable. We were going to get out of that situation. So, first loaf saved himself, and then he saved this loaf. I was curious, I kind of thought now, I doubt this is going to work, because if anything, I'd turn the red loaf kind of sideways to act more of a wedge. But I just wanted to see, on the off chance that the weight was practically... But there you go, actually, that's another thing. Like, the Kolob used to be extremely heavy on the chassis, and not really any weight in the roof. So it was kind of not too bad to tip back to its wheels. To be fair, the long-nosed Kolob is like nigh on impossible to tip. Yeah, when I was there though, I just quickly measured with my winch, seen it how far it went past the Kolob, and just spotted this tree and thought, could I? This goddamn horse of a vehicle. Get yourself a loaf. Of course he's got the length. He's hung like a horse. Yeah, the winch reached, and there you go. Mere seconds, done. Because recovering to the garage and driving back, I wouldn't, if for some reason, I mean the loaf is, he's never failed, still got his 100% rescue record, but yeah. Oh, well, I was even tempted at this point anyway. Like, obviously, stubbornness and just proving the point that the loaf's a beast, I was going to rescue the Kolob anyway, but I would have been quite happy to hit return to garage button or whatever now. And now as well, it was kind of convenient when I tipped there, because while I was on the way I was thinking, well, maybe I've got 2 loaves packed and I'm towing the prototype trailer, which to be fair, the prototype trailer shouldn't affect this at all, but it is a bit of an awkward sod to tow. It's just, it's one of them, it's got narrow little crappy front wheels, it's got like this part of the dolly axle setup, but it's sort of got like a big metal plate that sticks out and digs into stuff. So yeah, but now I've shed the loafs, I've not got the trailer, it's literally just the Kolob on its own, and it's still, I mean, look at it, it's feels like it's pretty asthmatic. Again, it's almost as if you've done it in real life and we're like 15,000 feet above sea level, and all the vehicles are just struggling to breathe, so they've got less power than normal. That seems like what they do every season. We seem to go further towards the sky, a higher sea level, even though there's very often the sea right there, mere meters below. See, just stuff like this, it's like, I flung a winch out. To be fair, I don't know if the winch really went far enough. There's not much winch power if it's not that long, but yeah, it just doesn't feel like that should be happening really. But at least like to see a little bit of effort once it gets stuck. I'd at least like to see it screaming and trying to get out of it. Like Ed 209 from RoboCop when he fell down them stairs. At least he was screaming. Like, he didn't just go, "Ah, well, fuck it. That's me done. Switch off." So we finally made it here. Obviously it's only 10 minutes odd on the video, but I edited a bit out. Saves us a bit of time. I also edited this out, just turning around really. Nothing happened, it was just, yeah, trying to turn a big fat truck around in this section. It was, I thought I'll spare us the 20 or 30 seconds. So, grab this truck, like I said, at this point, I thought, well, at least now it should pay off, because, well, I was originally hoping the Kolob would tow this thing like it's nothing. But then even going around here, I did go a little bit wide, but you'll see, it's sort of flooring it now, and it's just like, yeah. I don't even think that's really like I was pulling on the winch of the truck either. I think I just couldn't climb up the lip of that little rock. But it does seem a little bit excessive. I think for the sakes of it, I will, if and when I ever use this again, I'll switch back to the normal tyres that I just like the look of. The tyre stats, I don't know. There's something I've never really trusted about them anyway. For one, just saying like average, good, excellent, and crap, or whatever it says, is a bit of a vague way to tell us anyway. I don't know why they didn't just give us the tyre stats. But yeah, I'm pretty sure various tyre stats go through various maths, basically, to come out with some kind of figure at the end, so I think there might be other things at play. And now, I'd already decided, like, sod it, I'm going to get a different truck. I was just trying to flip this truck back to its wheels before I abandoned mission. So what's about to happen now was, yeah, I'd already decided I was out of here. It just wasn't like, even then when I was trying to drag the thing sideways, it could barely do it. I don't know. It was either not a good choice, but I feel like the Zik 605R, for example, would have done a much better job. And I don't necessarily feel like that was the case back in the day. I'd certainly say the Zix has got better options, like equipment-wise, and it can have a roof rack and all the rest of it, so I'd often probably take it over the Kolob, but the Kolob, sort of, how good it was, yeah, kind of the same league, but I didn't really feel like that today. So, yeah, whipped the old Dolphin out, sort of went for a little bit of a speed run. I didn't go to sleep yesterday, so I feel pretty tired at the minute, so I was, yeah, not planning on doing like a really lengthy video. And even though I knew the Kolob would go a little bit slower, I was kind of assuming that the raw power would just keep ploughing there, but it wasn't to be. I should have just set off with Dolphin and Lo4f from the start. See, I believe that section there is where the water started tipping me. And like I say, this thing just shot through there before it even had time to take effect. And in high gear, you can, let's say, get a pretty nice pace going with the old Dolphin. What was going on there? It sounds like it was about killing the microphone. I think this patch is probably best off flying around to the left as the way we're going now, because it seems to stop everything dead. Hence why that car is still sat there. That may just live there forever now. Who knows? One day I might use it, but I won't hold my breath. Just by trying to, like, I'm generally driving along the road with the Dolphin, but just clipping to the left and right here and there on purpose, and just seeing if, like, I'd catch my chin a little less, and I kind of feel like I was, to be honest. That was, apologies, just like a little video glitch. That's not me editing. Well, yeah, as you can see, it's making good pace, good time. Again, it's got a small fuel tank and all the rest of it, but I'm getting pretty far for what I've got. Still would be about time they could add something like raised suspension to this though. Because they've certainly added it. They've added all sorts of things to various other vehicles. Well, that Kolob, for example, that had raised suspension now, and it did make it a better vehicle. Like I say, it could be one of them situations where they've just overdone it with like the way they code this map, so it's just killing vehicles that on other maps will behave normally. I'll have to test it. Like, the easiest way for me really, I'll just take the Kolob to Black River, like some of the original OG maps. Yeah, and if it acts like it used to, then I kind of know it's this map. What was there was a season that was quite bad for doing that as well. What the hell was it? It wasn't Foothills or anything, season 2. It wasn't Wisconsin. I can't remember. Was it Erska River, maybe? I don't know. Or maybe Cosmodrome. There was some map anyway. It was just definitely like vehicles behaved differently on that map. And I took various vehicles over to different maps, and yeah, they just felt completely different straight away. I did a little edit there because I was supposed to go down this road. I swerved off to the right initially. I pretty much didn't go up the road. I kind of realised as I was turning. There's the prototype trailer. I abandoned that last time. Just yeah. There's the goddamn horses. So, like I say, going through here, the Dolphin's pretty good at not tipping, but I would say that the Kolob was even better at not tipping, just because it has insane weight throughout the chassis, but I really wasn't noticing that tonight. And again, I know I had a Lo4f on the roof, but the Lo4f weighs sod all compared to a Kolob. I've got shitloads of footage of me driving a Kolob with a Lo4f flopping around on the roof, and I'm leaning over and all sorts. Like, yeah, it practically never tips. So, like I said, even seconds before I tipped, I was saying to myself, oh, well, yeah, at least the Kolob practically never tips. So yeah, I've nearly just done the whole journey again basically, which is why I edited some of the Kolob stuff out. All I'd have to do is drive a little bit further up that road, but as you can see, this is where I made it to. By the time I got tired of the Kolob, just yeah, not doing what I wanted it to do. And I brought the Dolphin. I could have brought, say, a 6-wheel truck like Tega, the Voronggrad, the ANK, that sort of stuff, but I figured I've got to tow this thing back, so I want something with a little bit of oomph, and to be fair, the Dolphin's got it. The main reason, by the way, when I tipped it over, I was dragging it backwards with the Kolob, which is kind of like the way where you arrive to get it. You sort of have to tow it backwards. It tips stupidly easily when you're towing it backwards. I got this yesterday in the live stream, and I towed it backwards. I was using mods, but it was tipping every 2 seconds as I was towing it. That's why I was trying to turn it around with the Kolob, and then yeah, it started rolling. And my Kolob was just too weak to even try and flip it back. Now I'm towing it from the front, it definitely tips less. Like it helps, worth doing really, even though it's a bit of a pain in the ass in the long run. Like there, I bet money it would have tipped if I was towing it backwards and all sorts. And yeah, like you can see though, it mustn't weigh a silly amount or anything, because I was able to get going, get it in the high gear most of the time, other than stuff like that where it sort of forces you to smash your chin on the floor. Apart from that though, in and of itself, it was a nice little mission. It wasn't really the mission that was trolling me, it was actually just the Kolob itself, which I was quite surprised at. Can't help myself. Though, to be fair, If I didn't have them, I certainly could have just sent them up the road and flipped the Kolob back if I wanted. There's even the other loaf, brown loaf, wholemeal loaf, where the mission square is. I could have. Well, yeah, I'll rescue the Kolob at some point. I'm quite happy for it to live there, but just on stubborn principle and the fact that there's loafs in the vicinity, I will do it at some point. See, there's a good example though. Like, I tipped pretty far, and the Dolphin just went back to its wheels. Like, it's definitely not a bad vehicle for tipping by any means. And one nice thing, which can make a difference and add up on this game. To be fair, this map does have a few service areas, but yeah, as you'll see, like, you never take engine damage. The only way you ever take engine damage in a Dolphin is if you drown it, ironically. But yeah, you can go flat out into trees, rocks, trucks, walls, or whatever you like, and I don't know, maybe you can get an awkward bounce hitting rocks and damage the engine. I can't really say I've ever noticed it taking damage. I've certainly tried to damage it before. But crashing into things, you never take any damage. This little service station's pretty handy, and the little fuel bit. Wish they'd move that post out of the way though, because it's not. Basically impossible to sort of drive through it. You have to, yeah, do that, like a little reverse job. I wonder if that service area there fixes the Sprinter that I'm towing. I'm sure it used to work that way, but I don't 100% know if that's the case. I don't even know how I can check. Maybe I could have, where it says like press triangle to repair or something, and you bring up all like how many points, health points everything's got. Maybe it'd show up for the Sprinter as well, I'm not sure. But obviously it won't let me switch to it. Now then again, I'll switch to it before I enter the garage, so I should be able to see what it's like. I think it's around now as well. I don't know why I didn't do it. I wasn't really thinking about it, but I press square and turn the engine on the Sprinter. You hear it start up there, and yeah, it certainly helped. Now it's a piece of piss to get it in high gear and drop my hammer. And as for the truck, I mean, this video, I'd show you a little bit of it at the end, because obviously it's took me about a week to unlock the thing. Yeah, I didn't want to go too much into detail though, because in the next day or so I'll be doing a review video on this Sprinter truck. But it's one of them. I mean, as you can see, for one, it's a racing truck, so there's no ability to swap like the back piece of it for a sideboard or anything like that. It's a bit of a shame you can't have trailers. I know you might argue, or they might, well, you know, you wouldn't really put trailers on a racing truck, but it's like, yeah, I'd be willing to bet most, if not every racing truck in real life has a tow bar, even though it'll possibly never use it. I'm pretty certain I'll have one, just because it'd be stupid not to. And yeah, who cares if I want to tow a trailer with a race truck? It's my business. But again, at least in this game, for all the things that some of us might, just personal opinion, consider a bit poor judgment, the main good thing is they added mods. And the modders seem to understand the nuances of this game a hell of a lot and all the rest of it, so whatever we don't get in that sense, we can usually make up for in the mods. Well, case in point, I was using it yesterday. There's a mod, thanks to Mark Rowe for letting us know, the Z2 Tega blah 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 phone number, like Dakar basically. I mean, it's a kind of sign written advertising all over it, bright red race version of I believe the newer Tega. But either way, yeah, it's pretty easy to find. It should be pretty highly rated. I'm pretty certain it was like above 90% in the ratings. Yeah, that was an extremely good truck. And it was just better than this truck. There's no two ways about it. It had better acceleration, a lot more generous power, but it didn't feel overpowered at all. It feels like a racing truck would in real life. It's a very good, I think, well, I say that, I think, like, not that I've ever been in a racing truck, but you know what I mean. I've been on this game, and if someone said I'm getting a racing truck, I have an idea in my head of what I'd like it to be like. And this thing, it's not a million miles away. It's certainly like, I drove it yesterday when I'm on my live stream and I've got all the mods, kind of like, you know, the Azov Iceberg, all the monster trucks and everything. So obviously this probably felt a little bit inferior by comparison. Driving it today on my playthrough now, where I don't have any mods at all, and the Kolob was sucking pretty badly. The Dolphin, to its credit, I think, came through pretty well tonight. That's what she said. Yeah, and it did its job pretty well. But it certainly, you know, now this truck probably doesn't feel as limited by comparison. Money-wise, I don't think it was a lot of money either way, but obviously you get this truck. Not sure what the truck's worth, I actually forgot to check. Yeah, all the damage stuff on it, it doesn't look that bad. I might have took a bit of damage when I was towing it back. But yeah, here's what it looks like. Again, I skipped the bit where I just quickly stuck like the best engine on. I've already got the sport gearbox unlocked. I'll probably do a video at some point pretty soon, just showing you like all the upgrade locations for it as well. But yeah, this is what it looks like when it's fully upgraded. There's no raisable suspension, but it sits reasonably tall enough. Obviously a custom paint job. I believe I might have put the chain on, but there's not a whole lot you can do to it really. You do the engine, you know, the tyres, stick a winch on. There's a few types of snorkels at the top of the roof, and that's about it. There's no frame add-ons. So yeah, you're just souping it up really, and then that was it. I had to check if goddamn horse could fit on it, and of course he could. He's a professional, he knows what he's doing. And driving it, again, it's not horrible. It accelerates. It's not that fast, I'll say that, but it, you know, it gets up to speed. Like it doesn't feel like a slow old 1970s truck or something. As for tipping wise though, I noticed this yesterday, and I can show you a little bit today. It feels quite stable as you're turning around a corner. Like you feel pretty planted. But then, when it starts to tip, sort of that's it. Once it goes, it goes. It feels planted until it doesn't. And then that way you kind of get a little bit, you know, you sort of being a little bit tame with applying the steering, just so you don't overdo it and then just suddenly fling over. Like when I was doing one of the laps of that qualification race in this, and I believe it might have been the third or fourth attempt round the track where I finally did a lap, because this thing tipped the first 2 or 3 times. And yeah, the previous day I'd done 10 odd trucks or more around that track, and I didn't tip one. Jump in there, not a monster jump, but again, it's not that rapid. I'm in high gear now, so it makes noise at the Lo4f on the roof, because I've just wound up the high gear. I'm going as fast as that'll let me. If you go into the auto gears, this track doesn't really always allow your vehicles to just wind up nicely in top gear. There's something a bit extra restrictive going on, so yeah. I mean, it ain't going to set your world on fire or anything like that, but it is what it is. I'm not going to say no to a race truck. It's pretty good. At least they've entertained the possibility of like catering to, yeah, racing rather than like pure old school slow stuff. So there you can see I turned, after I turned for a little while, it tipped. Again, it probably would have helped a little bit, but you can see once it goes, like it was going, you got absolutely no time to try and like steer the other way and save it or anything really. I'm sure there's some situations where you'll actually manage, but yeah, in general it's tipping. That's all there is to it. But again, got a goddamn horse, so can always get out of these situations. I was just wanting to see if I could reverse into it like that, but the Lo4f's too much of an off-road beast. Started just driving over the whole thing. Even got a little Lo4f drift going on there. Told you, Tokyo Lo4f. Yeah, it's a piece of piss to tip back to its wheels, to be fair. didn't feel... Well, ironically, the Lo4f did it in literally seconds. The Kolob made a right palaver of the whole situation. The old cat's back. He likes himself a Lo4f. Oh yeah, no, just sort of the end. We'll stick on this podium. So, what do you mean, Lo4f? Get skinny. It's my boy. See? He always figures out a way. But yeah, that's about it for today. Like I say, good luck getting the truck. It's good for a gimmick and messing around. It will be nice to drive around, but yeah, in the scheme of things, it ain't going to be that handy. But yeah, that's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Thanks to my Patreon members. And I'll be back soon. And get yourself a Lo4f, of course, because he's a goddamn beast.